Hello fellow engineers and welcome to another Xbox tutorial. In the last episode, we talked about what world settings I would recommend for your first solar system playthrough, and today we're going to get started on it. When you first load into your solar system world, you're going to be greeted with several different options here on where you can spawn in. Now each one has some benefits and some downsides. And this is the real difficulty level of Space Engineers, is how harsh is your starting condition. Now I'm going to play through on this series in the Earth-like drop pod, and as what I recommend you do as well for your first series, as it's the easiest. You have ample oxygen, it's warm, it's just easy. Everything is easy on Earth. You can drop on the moon. Instead of a drop pod, you're actually going to get a rover. It allows you to move around the moon's surface. However, the moon is covered in craters and ravines, so it's actually quite difficult to drive across it. There's some places that are quite flat, but realistically, it being a rover is of limited use. What is of great use is the fact that there is a hydrogen thruster on the bottom, which will allow you to fly around the moon if you know how to balance the ship like a helicopter or a top. Now, downsides is that there's no oxygen and there is very cold on the moon. So you're going to be eating through your ice in order to make oxygen, and you're going to be eating through your power in order to keep yourself alive. So you need to immediately know where the ice is and how to get power on your rover, or else your character will die, which is where the difficulty of the moon's scenario comes. So I'd recommend this more for a player that actually knows what they're doing, because then they can go, all right, I just need to get a solar panel and do this, and I can get that done real quick. It's a little difficult for your first try if you are still figuring out the game. Now, Mars Drop Pod is the exact same pod you would use on Earth-like. However, you're on Mars. There's no oxygen. It's very cold. That's the downsides. The upside is actually it's pretty easy to build on Mars because it's fairly flat and desolate. So you can just build wherever you want and have nice giant bases. And it's actually really easy to see where resources are. If you fly up into the air and look around, you should see these white spots on the ground. And because everything is so just monotone of the Martian color, you can tell exactly where resources are. So it's quite easy to find spots to go mining. However, you're going to be eating through your ice and your power like crazy, so you either need to find ice immediately at one of those mining spots or make a beeline for the North or South Pole in order to get ice from there. Now, Space Pod is going to put you into a small spaceship up into orbit somewhere, and you can go from asteroid to asteroid searching for materials and bartering at NPC trading stations. Now this is great if you want sort of the migratory merchant sort of feel to be your initial start. However, do not try to land on any of the planetary bodies. The engines that you have on the ship are only meant for space travel. If you try to land on Earth, you will not land, you will crash, which may be an interesting situation. But before you try to do that, you're going to have to retrofit your ship with some atmospheric thrusters or hydrogen or maybe even just parachutes that you can land and at least get down safely. And then Space Suit is for the masochistic. It literally just puts you in your suit in the middle of nowhere with no other resources. You have what oxygen is in your suit and then you will die. I don't really see how this is possible, aside from immediately after spawning, you have to hijack an NPC ship and take it for your own. If you want to play a hardcore survival as a pirate, it's theoretically possible with Spacesuit Start, but I do not recommend it under any circumstances. What I'm going to do, what I would recommend you do, is we do Earth-like drop pod, and I'm going to start that right now. And here we are, loading into the world, falling down out of the sky. But never fear, for a parachute will deploy to save you from crashing into the ground at great speeds. Now, your spawn is entirely random. There is no idea how you will know if you where you will spawn. But that is alright. We can make do with what we have here. It looks like we spawned somewhat into the mountains. I'm just going to go fly up here into the sky a little bit to give myself an idea of where I am. Yeah, so that's the desert over there. We've got some mountains over there. An ice up there on the mountains, which is excellent for us if we need some ice. But overall, we should be good. We got a nice ridge here that we can dig into. It'll be a little difficult to build because it is not flat, but well, it wouldn't be a tutorial if there wasn't a challenge, right? Now, first thing to do is look at our respawn pod and what we have available to us in it, as this pod is our savior. It will do everything we need in order to build up a giant space engineering empire. From this pod, we will expand out to take over the stars. But first thing to do is come over to the seat, press the inventory button, grab out the gun and the GPS coordinates, open up that data pad here by pressing Y to read, and we can see that, so you're looking for more jobs or trade? Sure, we can sort you out. Take a look at this place. It's a bit remote, but rumor goes that pilots find good opportunities here. Press Y to create that GPS point, and X to exit. Then using our right trigger, we're going to go all the way over to GPS, select the Alma station, and turn show on HUD on. Now we can look around here, and we can see that 13.28 kilometers away in that direction, there is an NPC trading station that we can go to and do commerce with. Now, they are a little far away. We're going to have to probably make a flying ship in order to get there. That'll be for a few episodes from now. But for now, we just need to get started on gathering resources. And like how every single game has its sort of start. Like how Minecraft has you punching trees. Space Engineers has you digging dirt. But we're going to get that in a moment. From here, let's take a look at the rest of the ship. We have our H2O2 generator here, which, if you were in space or moon or Mars, this thing is your lifeblood. It's the only thing that will make any oxygen out of ice and refill your oxygen bottle. You can take these bottles onto your person, and now if you look in the bottom left, you can see that oxygen and hydrogen have the little bottles above their bars. That means that as my oxygen gets low, the oxygen will refill out of the bottle, and I can go further without needing to go back and regenerate at a station. Now, at this point on Earth, I am actually high altitude here, so the oxygen is low. If I have my helmet on, it'll actually consume a bit of my oxygen as I'm breathing high oxygen within my helmet. But I could turn my open my helmet's visor, and I can just breathe the high mountain air. My character will get used to the altitude sickness very quickly here. Next up here is the survival kit. Now, the survival kit is essential. It is what is going to allow you to snowball into building more and more things. It's going to take stone that you mine and turn it into trace minerals of iron, silicon, and nickel in order to create the most basic building blocks. So, let us go, grab our drill, and we're going to find a spot here. We'll just go uphill a little bit. I'm going to aim down into the ground, and I'm going to use my left trigger to start. Now this deletes the voxel. It just deletes everything and creates a hole. It's great if you just want to mine out a whole bunch really quickly. However, you see how this ground here, this is dirt. But if I continue pushing down into the ground, I'm going to transition from dirt to stone here. I'm going to turn on my headset, my headlamps, by holding down right button and pressing to the right on the D-pad, and that gives me my light. You can see how it's starting to transition in color here. A little bit more going down. And we want to drill down until we get to stone. Because stone, aha, here we go, is much more efficient when it comes to mining out for our uses. If we mine out a little bit of dirt, we can see that that dirt has 87.6 stone. Where if we mine out a bit of stone, we can see, look how much popped out. 292, 76.9, 19.5, 5.73, all out of one little spot. So it's much more efficient to mine with stone rather than dirt. So if you have exposed stone near your landing spot, mine that. If not, drill down in order to get down to the stone and mine it. You could mine the dirt on the way down, but realistically just get to the stone and start going ham on mining stone. Now, like I said, with equating this to Minecraft, this is our punching trees. This is the slow start in order to get the resources for the future. Where we're just gathering up all this stone, and let's use our jetpack here to fly ourselves out of this hole. You can drill that on a nice gentle angle so you don't have to fly out and waste hydrogen. You can just drill forward until you get to it, so you can just walk in and out. But we're going to go over to our survival kit, open up its inventory, and transfer this 5.9 thousand stone into the kit. Now using right trigger, I'm going to go over 2 levels into production, and we can see that one of the options here in production is available. It's ingots. I'm going to press A to queue up one of them. It'll be very quick in its building time, but we'll see what the results are. Now, it's created 1.4 gravel, 3 iron, 0.24 nickel, and 0.4 silicon. Now that's enough resources here to build all of these different components. So if I queue up, say, 1,000 of these, holding left and right button and pressing A, we can see that it's taking stone and turning it into these resources. And all of these other options have now lit up because they are available to be built. I have enough resources to do it. So I'm going to most likely need a bunch of steel plate. So I'm going to hold down right button and press A to queue up 100 plate. And we can see that even though we're missing the stone, it's automatically skipping over it because we don't have any stone, but we do have iron, and it is producing my steel plate that I need. So in a sense, this is already slightly automated. I can just throw stone into the survival kit. It'll automatically first process the stone, and then if any components are queued up after that, it'll process them as it runs out of stone. So we have this 18 steel plate. I can head on back down into my mine. Whee, sploop. And go and grab a little bit more stone. Then pick up said stone and take it on back upstairs. And after placing it in the survival kit, it will automatically process the stone and then move on to processing the steel plate. So let me pop over there, open this up, throw in the extra 2.53 thousand stone, and we can see it's gone back to processing the ingots. But then as soon as it is going to run out of that, it goes back to processing the steel plates. Excellent. Beautiful. And we have 100 steel plates now. Now, we're only being able to do it this quickly because we set our world so that we have highest efficiencies for our assembler and such. If you set these to be much lower, this is going to take you a long time of mining, which is why I said in the last episode, those world settings are not difficulty settings, they're tedium settings. But we have 100 steel plate. Let's take them out by pressing A here, and we have them in our character inventory now. And because of that, we can now place items into the world in order to start to build up a platform. And what I think I want to do is I'd like to build a platform sort of across this little valley here so that I have a little bit of a flat area. Sort of take these two ridge lines and flatten them out, connect them. So what I want to do is take my left stick and push it in, and that'll access our block placement wheels. Now I can go with right and left trigger here and go through all the different blocks that I can place currently. Now, a lot of the blocks, as you'll see, pretty much every single block here except the top left one has this icon beside it and is grayed out. That means that it is currently locked behind the progression tree. I'll get around to unlocking things and how you can actually exploit that a little bit by grinding down and grinding back up various items that are on the respawn pod in the next episode. But for now, let's just place some items. So, left stick, pressing in, going over to armor, pushing up with left stick in order to select the light armor block, and hitting right button to confirm. This gives us a block that we can place into the world. Now we can place this wherever we want. If we place it in the air, it's just going to fall with gravity. And then once it's in the world, we can go to the different faces of it and add blocks to it, just like you were building up Legos. However, if we want, what we can do, and we can go to the surface and place it into the surface, like so. And now it's static. We can't move it around. Where this one, I could theoretically push it and move it as it is not fixed to the surface. But this one is. But for now, let me just grind both of these away. We get our resources back. As you see, I still have 100 steel plate. So you don't have to worry about grinding down and losing anything. If you don't like how you place something, grind it down and replace it. But we can go back to that armor and place it into the world here. So I think what I want to do is rotate it a little bit such that it is sort of aligning with the gap here, and slap it down, say right about there. Now from there, I can just build out onto it. And the reason why I put it there is that if I built this way, it's sort of going into the platform, into this terrain here, and I can just walk onto it nice and easy. Excellent. So I can place out a series of them here, create myself a little platform to work on. Okay, so I've got myself a little platform here. I can just walk onto it. And I think I'll expand this one more, I think. But what we're going to do with this platform is we're going to set up some basic processing on it. We're going to want to get a basic refinery, basic assembler, storage, and a few other things, including some power. So, first thing is we need to get this thing having a little bit of power. I am going to go, and in this corner here, I'm going to fly up, and I'm going to place blocks in a tower going up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oop, I'll fix that in a moment. 8, 9, 10 high. And because I'm going 10 high, is that you need to have a certain amount of distance from the ground in order for wind power to have its greatest efficiency. So you want to go about 10 blocks high. So what we're going to want to do is place a wind turbine. As you can see, there's an option for it right here. But we need 40 interior plates, 8 motors, 20 construction components, 24 girders, and 2 computers. Okay, so I believe I remember that. We have to go over then to our respawn pod, go into our production, and we'll have to set them up. And just let me get a moment to get all that placed into here. And 40 plates, and 24 girders. And if I have enough resources, that should be everything that I need. Unfortunately, I'm out of iron, so I have to continue with my mining, which is sort of the gameplay loop at the beginning. You gotta come down here, mine a little bit, go back, see what you can build with it, come back and mine a little bit more. And with that extra mining trip, we've got everything we need to put down a wind turbine, which is great because it is actually starting to get dark here near my base. So let's grab those resources out: the motor, computers, construction components, and girders. We will go pushing in the left stick here, grab our wind turbine, confirm, and then fly on up and place our wind turbine on top of our little tower here, and then weld it up. And with it welded up and it's nicely above the terrain, we have, by building it, unlocked new blocks. Excellent. Let's go take a look here. So now this platform is powered. There is a thing in the game that if you are a long distance away from unpowered grids, so grids that have no power generation on them or batteries, they will actually get deleted. So it's very good to, if you want to keep something, power your grids. Let me just fill that out a little bit. Perfect. Yeah, use one there as well. Nice and smooth. Very good. So, you could see that when we built that, we unlocked blocks. We had a little notification that popped up. So if I hold down left button and hit left on my D-pad, we bring up the progression. This is the tech tree. And I can go through the tech tree here and see that where was wind power? Right here. Wind turbine. That unlocked control panels, pistons, rotors, advanced rotors, merges, beacons, doors, all sorts of things got unlocked because I built a turbine. Now, in the next episode, we're going to continue on with this. We're going to flesh out the rest of this starting station. We're going to get a basic refinery on it, which is this bad boy right here. Basic refinery. That is going to lead into a basic assembler, a storage compartment, so that we are going to be able to improve on our refining efficiency from the survival kit and actually become less and less dependent on this pod. Eventually, after next episode, we should be able to grind down this pod and transfer everything of it onto our little platform and start to live off this platform with a new respawn pod survival kit. But that will be the next episode. I've got to wait until the sun raises back up. But until then, thanks for watching, and good hunting out there, fellow space engineers.